Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So this is going to be my review for Spider-Man No Way Home. And I really like Spider-Man No Way Home, but let's just admit it, the movie has problems. However, it's the nostalgia that hits so hard. It's, so we don't care about the problems, but it's still a really fun movie. And I saw this movie twice in theaters. I thought it was a lot of fun. For this viewing, I watched the extended version, but we'll go into that in a minute. So before we get into the review, be sure to hit the thumbs up button if you like the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support me in other ways, you can go ahead and check the links in the section below. You can buy my book, The Chimera Prophecies, and other short stories if you like science fiction short stories. So that's how you can support the channel. Alright, thank you. So let's get into the review. So I saw this movie twice in theaters, loved it, and I'm watching the extended version for the first time for this review. It was, it was good. There were some cool extended scenes. I don't think you need to see it. It doesn't really add too much extra to the overall plot of the film. It's just kind of like nice little moments, pretty much. But I'll kind of go over some of those as we go along. So the movie opens up, picking up right where the end credit scene of the last movie left off, with Mysterio revealing Peter Parker's identity. And I feel like Peter Parker might be a common name. So, is he the only Peter Parker that lives in New York? Or did Mysterio, leak other information? How did they, double check and confirm this is the Peter Parker that they're talking about? I'm not really sure about that. But, we get a few scenes with J. Jonah Jameson. We got more scenes in the extended edition. Just kind of extended scenes. But I like them picking up right where the last movie left off. And we're kind of wrap up that sort of plot a little quickly and early in the movie, and so we can get on to what we really came here to see, right? And I do like the scene of Happy and May kind of breaking up. I think it's kind of a cute, funny character moment for them. Happy's crying, and May's don't worry about it, it was a fling. So I think that was super cute. And so then the DODC, I think Department of Damage Control, they come in and they want to arrest Peter or question him because Tony left Peter the Edith glasses, and so they assume that the drones are then Peter's responsible for the drones because they were Stark Technology. And so, the DODC mentions that Nick Fury has been off-world for over a year, which I'm not sure is 100% accurate because they said that Far From Home took place about 8 months after Endgame, and that's when Fury returned from being blipped. So I'm not really sure. Maybe they just meant barely a year. I don't know. The extended edition does have longer scenes of this interrogation, which is kind of funny. So I do kind of like that, and Peter's trying to explain to him all of the past events he's done as Spider-Man. It's kind of funny. And we do see this DODC agent here. He pops up in Ms. Marvel's show, so I do kind of like that continuity that this is the same people. And then we get Matt Murdock being a lawyer, not being Daredevil, but he's being a lawyer. And I love when he catches the brick, and Peter kind of knows something's up, and Matt's just yeah, I'm just a really good lawyer. But you can tell Peter kind of knows something. In the extended version, there's another scene with Matt Murdock being Happy's lawyer, which he kind of mentions in the first scene, Happy's going to need a really good lawyer. And so we kind of see that scene play out later with Happy and the missing Stark Tech, which kind of just gets dropped because it's really not that important. And we do see that Happy has the Stark Tech in his apartment anyway, but it's kind of cool to see Matt Murdock here, and I like him showing up, and obviously comes back for She-Hulk and hopefully continues. So that's a fun little scene. And then Peter's back at school, and we get the fun teachers or have this memorial for him, except for the gym teacher that's I know what you did. He's kind of this conspiracy theorist or something, but he's funny, and so that's funny. And then we do get Betty Brant, these extended interviews that Betty Brant's doing with the teachers and Peter and his friends and stuff, and so that's a lot of fun too. And I like that. I can see why it was cut, but it is kind of just a fun little interview scene that she does. And then Peter and his friends don't get into college, which, of course, he goes to Doctor Strange, and then that's kind of really where the movie starts to begin. So he goes to Doctor Strange and asks for a spell to make everybody forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, which I understand he wants some people to remember that he's Spider-Man, but he can also just go back and tell them, like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm Spider-Man. Like, I don't see how it's like a huge deal that he needs to like abruptly change the spell mid-casting and stuff. So, I mean, yeah, Peter's a kid, so you can kind of, expect that from him a little bit. But you can't put all the blame on him. Like, Doctor Strange, like, should have shut the spell down as soon as Peter started making changes. He shouldn't have done the spell in the first place. So I do kind of like put, he's an adult. So, I put, the responsibility on Doctor Strange as well. But, you have to give the movie, that one conceit, because otherwise we don't have the plot, right? We don't get to bring back all these cool characters that we want to see. So that's kind of what you just got to go with. But I do love the fight scene with Doc Ock on the bridge. I think that's a lot of fun. And then we have Green Goblin pop back in. So it's really fun to see all these characters return. I grew up with the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. Those were my Spider-Man. Spider-Man 1 is still, I think, one of my favorite Spider-Man movies. Might be my favorite. So, this really hits the nostalgia for me. And I do like the Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man as well. And so then we get Electro, Lizard, and Sandman also return, which is kind of cool. There's actually this cool scene where he goes to get Electro, and he finds Sandman also, and Peter turns his suit inside out, and it kind of looks really cool with, like, the black and the gold, and then he's got, like, Doctor Strange's, like, magic bracelet thingy, so that's just kind of a cool look for Peter there. One thing I kind of don't really like is that, like, Aunt May's, like, telling Peter, like, you have to help these people, you can't just send them back the way they are. And it's like, well, that's the way they came in, why can't we send them back the way they are? And even though, like, Doctor Strange is, like, constantly telling Peter, like, it's dangerous to mess with the multiverse, we don't know, like, it's their fate to die, you can't mess with the multiverse. But Peter, like, Aunt May's like, no, you have to help them, Peter. I really don't kind of like that angle, but it is their fate to die. And then Peter says, Strange have a heart. And that kind of reminds me of the What If episode. What if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands? Where Strange loses Christine, and no matter what he does, every multiverse, he will never be with Christine. And so that kind of, I think, ties into here a little bit of like, yeah, Strange does have a heart, but he also, that's not this version of Strange still, but like, with that kind of knowledge, it's like, yeah, you can't mess with the multiverse. The fate is the fate. You cannot change that. And so I just think it's kind of like a interesting little line that reminds me of that What If episode and, Doctor Strange, that version of Doctor Strange at least. Anyways, I like it. And I do like the fight between Doctor Strange and Spider-Man. I think that's really cool. I like Strange's use of the Mirrorverse. And, Peter uses geometry to stop him, which is fun. But I don't think that Strange should... I think Strange should have had no problem taking out Spider-Man. Like, he's not the Sorcerer Supreme, but he was at one point. Super powerful. He almost took out Thanos. Like, he should have no problem with Spider-Man. But I do like that Spider-Man can go up against Doctor Strange. So that is kind of cool. And so Peter tries to help everybody, and he kind of sort of fails, and Goblin indirectly kills Aunt May. And it's a really good scene, and they actually kind of get you like twice. Like at first you think, oh yeah, she is dead, but then she gets up, and you're like, oh okay, maybe she'll be okay, it's fine, But then she does die, and so that is pretty sad. And she gives Peter the iconic line of, with great power comes great responsibility. And so I do kind of like that twist a little bit because he never got an Uncle Ben in this Spider-Man Marvel MCU universe. So I do like that Aunt May delivers the line, and that, like, although it's a little bit of a fridging, right? Because, like, her death is kind of what motivates, but I guess it's unmotivating Peter because he wouldn't have done anything until the other Spider-Mans come back. I don't know. It's not a great death, but, it's something to give May. Which is, I guess, maybe why they had to break her off with Happy at the beginning of the movie. I don't know. But it's a good, they got me. So then we get we get Ned and MJ bringing in Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. And I really love that scene where Ned, like, kind of discovers, he's magic. He's like, I'm magic now. And he brings in them, and that's a lot of fun. And I do love the, moment with the three Spider-Men up on the rooftop. I think that's a really good moment where they are trying to convince Peter not to go down this dark path of revenge after the Green Goblin, and I really like that. I think it's a really touching moment. I think, all the actors are really great in it. And I think Peter kind of learns the weight of responsibility he has for being Spider-Man. It's not all fun and games and playing with the Avengers. It costs him his family and friends. That puts them in danger. And the movie's kind of getting him to that point of taking the responsibility more seriously. And, I kind of like that as this progression of this version of Peter Parker. And so I love bringing in the old Spider-Man. I love Andrew Garfield. I think he is so cute and charming in this. He's so fun. He is a great Peter Parker. Tobey Maguire, I think he kind of feels a little bit off, but maybe that's because it's an older version of Peter, so he doesn't have that sort of youthful charm that he did from the original movies. But I really love seeing all three of them interact together. I think that's great. And I just really love that. I do like I said, I like Ned being magic now. It kind of reminds me of maybe he can go off and train Carmitage with America Chavez or something. I think that would be a lot of fun. I would love to see that. But so the three Spider-Men team up, and then we get the big fight under the construction of the Statue of Liberty, where they're adding the Captain America shield to it. And it is referenced in the Hawkeye show, which takes place after this movie. Yelena Belova wants to go see the new Statue of Liberty. And so I think it's cool that that's here and then it's referenced there, and they're adding the Captain America shield. But it's a great fun fight scene against the classic villains. Peter does manage to save them in the end. I really like them three Spider-Men teaming up and then learning to work together. Peter's like, I'm not going to brag, but I was in the Avengers. And they're like, what's the Avengers? That whole interaction is just so much fun. Really hits the nostalgia chord. And I just love it. I think that's, it's probably one of the best parts of the movie. It's just so much fun. And then Doctor Strange returns. And I'm not sure that the spell to forget Peter could actually work. And I'm not sure that's 100% necessary. The original spell is, ended up pulling in people who knew Spider-Man was Peter Parker. So the spell should be reverse that. And the spell he's telling them is for people that know Peter Parker, not just people that know that Peter is Spider-Man, which it was the original spell. So I don't know if it 100% works. It's a little kind of muddied. I mean, they want to do it because they want to do this, reset of the Spider-Man. I just wish the spells were just a little bit more defined and made a little bit more sense, that's all. But anyway, it is a sad ending, everybody forgetting Peter, and it creates this sort of, clean slate for Tom Holland's Spider-Man going forward, if we see more of him going forward. And I do like the new suit that he makes at the end, that's kind of like that classic bright blue, bright red Spider-Man suit. I do like that, and he's sliding through the snow because the movie mainly takes place around the fall, there's Halloween decorations, so it's right after Halloween. So then the very ending, he's going through the snow. So it's winter time, and that's we're gonna lead into the Hawkeye show now, which does take place around Christmas. So I kind of like this continuity we're going here, and I do like this kind of more. We're setting this Tom Holland Spider-Man up to be more of a classic Spider-Man, which is I hope we get to see that going forward. And so anyway, let's talk about some of the characters. So I love seeing the return of the old villains. I think Willem Dafoe is just so great at playing the Green Goblin. He's just deliciously evil, and he's born for the Green Goblin. He just plays it. It's a little bit of camp, but a good camp, not over the top. It's great. Alfred Molina is also just back on it as Doc Ock. I really like this new version of Electro. He's just a little bit cooler. And he's not that weird glowing blue, and you can tell Jamie Foxx is having a lot more fun with the role. You can tell he's enjoying it more. And it's also nice to see Sandman and Lizard. They don't get to do much, but I do like seeing them. And then of course I love the return of Tobey and Andrew, and I just think all three Spider-Men have a great job and great chemistry together. The main problem with this movie is Doctor Strange should have never cast the spell to begin with. But also, Peter kind of acts irresponsibly by going against Strange's orders. Because, like I said, Strange keeps saying, the multiverse is dangerous. We can't mess with the multiverse. We have to send them back. We can't change things because we don't know the consequences of that. And so, Peter's kind of putting everybody in danger by going against that. I mean, and had Strange not come in at the end, things might have gone all wrong. We don't know with the multiverse you know, coming in and everything. So, like, it is a little irresponsible of Peter for that reason. But again, I think this movie is about Peter being irresponsible, learning to take responsibility, and then actually learning to take responsibility in a selfless kind of way, right? Like, where he's like, I can fix it. It's gonna cost me my friends forgetting who I am. So I think it's a journey of responsibility that Peter goes on through in this movie. But also, it's kind of like, even if Peter saves them, he says, I mean, you might have a chance. We don't know. But it's like, if they were, like, they each kind of say, like, I was just about to die. So even if you fix them, you send them back, they're probably still going to die. Because, like, is the glider still going to impale Green Goblin? Only this time he's going to be cured and you'll feel bad. Or Doc Ock still has to, sink the thing and go in the water. Like, they still might die. So it is kind of a little pointless to try and save them. But was it the right moral thing to do? Well, I mean, again, messing with the multiverse, we don't know. But it is kind of interesting. Although, again, you still have to just give the movie this conceit, because otherwise we can't have the return of all these characters. And that's what we really want to see. But there's a little bit of a problem with Peter's plan of trying to fix them. Like, he should have just sent them back in the beginning. So like I said, this movie has some problems, but, I just don't care because of the nostalgia, and I have so much fun, and I love seeing the return of these characters. And that's kind of a problem with Marvel movies, like, currently, right? It's like, when we're actually having fun, we can kind of overlook a lot of these problems, but when we're not having fun, the problems stand out a lot more. And so this movie has problems, but we're having so much fun that it doesn't really matter. So I think that's kind of maybe, Marvel needs to work on that going forward. But anyway, this movie is really good, so I like it a lot. It's not my favorite of the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. I think Homecoming is still my favorite. But this movie has a lot of fun in it. And so that's it for my review. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you guys love it? Some people really love it. Some people don't actually like it. The problems do bother them. But let me know what you guys think. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. So thank you everybody for watching. And until next time, you know what's cooler than magic? Math. Bye.